Hello, everyone. Smeagol here. We're going to talk a little bit about our Diversity and Differences workshop that we did at overnight training. So, a little bit of an overview. The purpose of this is to give all staff members tools and techniques for celebrating the unique differences and the diversity of our community. Obviously, it's not going to take 2 hours because we don't have any of these things to show you right now because we're not in person. So we're really just going to dive right into this. It's going to be a lot of reading, so bear with me. Sorry if my mic cuts out. Technology is not, my biggest fan. So a little bit of what we're going to do here. So why is it important to our campers and their families that we as a staff spend time doing a workshop on diversity and differences? This is really just so both their families and the campers know that Camp Kesem is a place where everyone can come to feel safe, loved, and respected. That includes everybody from all different backgrounds. We just want to make sure that everyone's having the best time, and we don't want anyone to feel excluded just because of who they are from any of our activities. And it's really important because we, don't really know everything about all campers. We don't know where they come from, all their backgrounds, and we just want to make sure that the other campers know as well that not everyone is the same. So, section 1, what are we talking about? Isms. This is really important. Any act or expression that creates exclusion or is exclusionary. So there are tons and tons and tons of different prejudices that are included in this definition. Tons. So we really focused on these few right here. Racism, sexism, ableism, classism, and transphobia and homophobia. Obviously, we know that transphobia and homophobia don't end in ism, but they are included in this because they are prejudices. And, especially with a lot of our new incoming campers, we think it's really important to talk about these things. If you don't know the definition of these few words, feel free to take a time out and, look them up. But I feel like just based on the name, they are pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, if you have any questions about them, feel free to ask. So we're just going to move forward. So follow-up question, where do these expressions and behaviors come from? Again, there are many, many different places that these expressions and behaviors can come from. But we really wanted to dive into culture, personal experiences, so family, community, school, religion. Everyone comes from a lot of different places and a lot of different backgrounds, so just making sure that we keep that in check. Also, lack of exposure. So a lot of people don't really get exposed to a lot of the things that these words include. So they just don't really know how to react, or they just have no idea. They might just be young and don't really know what any of these things mean. So, and it's obviously not our job to just educate them over and over again about what these things are, but we just want to make sure that we're watching out and making sure that these kids aren't, getting excluded because of where they come from or who they are. So also a very important question is, how do these kinds of behaviors and expressions make people feel, and how do they make you feel? So that's just something to mull over. Obviously, a lot of answers we got when we were doing this workshop is that it makes us feel sad that these kids are getting treated this way, but it also makes other people feel vulnerable. And I mean, vulnerability is okay at camp, but we don't want people to be excluded because of it. So, cool. Moving on. Side note, very important, that our job at camp is to protect all kids from any of these behaviors and expressions. It's our job to protect all kids all the time. So that does include physical and emotional safety as well. So that's also covered in the EOTs. So get this done. If we don't want these behaviors, what do we want? We want affirmation and celebration of diversity and differences. So when going through this module, we should not only be thinking about how to address and prevent prejudicial behavior, but also brainstorming how to create an affirming environment and affirming behaviors. So what do we do? How do we do this? We all the time, always are being role models to our campers. We are going to lead by example. So we saw in each and every one of you that you could be a great role model for these kids, and we obviously see that in you. So we want you to just trust yourself, be a role model for these kids, lead by example. Don't, treat anybody that you don't want, how you don't want to be treated. Be understanding of where these kids come from, highlight their cultures. If you don't understand what they're doing, ask them why. It's not like they're gonna hide anything they shouldn't hide anything from you about it, but just ask them how they're feeling and why they're feeling that way. Always be self-aware of bias-related behavior and belief in stereotypes. Once you have identified a mistake or stereotype belief, acknowledge that you have done so and identify what you will work to do next time. So obviously we're not just watching out for these kind of behaviors in our campers, but we also want to be watching it out from ourselves and our fellow counselors. So let's see. What are some concrete ways that we can set up the camp environment to celebrate diversity and differences? We talked a lot about these too, but these are kind of the most important ones. So discuss the idea of respect. Do, say, believe. So sometimes our campers are more in tune with what being disrespectful look like, or what they should not be doing instead of what they should be doing. So we really want to focus on how we can be respectful, and we want to tell them what the positive behaviors are. Obviously, we want to make sure that they know what negative behaviors are. But we just want to make sure that when we are discussing these negative behaviors with them, we also want to touch base on what the positive counter behavior for that would be. Ban hate-based words or language. This is kind of self-explanatory, ban the N-word, don't say that's gay or sissy, but we also just want to make sure that we are establishing these rules at the beginning so that they know what to expect, and they know if they say something, that's disrespectful to somebody else, that they will, get in trouble for it, and we will be talking to them about it. Awesome. So this section 3 is strategies for dealing with a situation. Dealing with any situation involving isms-related behavior can be intense, emotional, and extremely difficult for staff members. Not only for new staff members, but for all staff members. It's difficult for us too. So this will definitely help everyone get through it. So things we're going to be brainstorming in this section: how to keep campers' behavior in perspective, things to remember when dealing with this behavior, or objectives for the behavior change you would like to see. So, how do we do this? Remember that campers are children. If you feel the need or are compelled to argue or yell or debate with them, you're not in the right mind or in the right, place to deal with this issue right away. So that would be definitely when you would walk away, calm down, find someone else to help you. Always ask for help if you feel you need it, even if you feel you don't need it. It's always fine to ask for help. Remember to keep your emotions in check and use a calm voice, because if you're freaking out, they're going to freak out, and that's just going to go in a completely opposite direction than you want it to. Lastly, it is very, very, very important for any situation that's happening to ensure the immediate and long-term physical and emotional safety of all campers, every camper involved. Both sides of the situation. Make sure that both campers are getting what they need, both campers understand the situation that's happening, and both campers understand that we are there to help them in any way that they need. So, how do we do this? We kind of talked about this in other workshops and stuff, but take care of the victim first. Focus on what the hurt camper needs. For example, the hurt camper is allowed to feel hurt or angry. They should be allowed to safely express their feelings to a counselor all the time. You should always let your campers know that you are there to help them, you are there to speak with them, you are there to help them feel safe and give them whatever they need. Then always explain, especially with the younger campers. They really don't know what's happening a lot of the time. So explaining how you're going to deal with the situation in detail, explain that it's your job to take care of everybody. That means that you will not allow this kind of behavior or comments. And none of the other campers or none of the other counselors will be doing that either. And also just encourage the campers to let you know if these kinds of things are happening to them or others. That just goes along with you allowing them to be vulnerable with you, and you just being open and just communicating with them, like about what they need, what you need from them, etc. So the most important thing about any ISM-related situation is immediacy and follow-up. So you're going to want to deal with every situation immediately. The first time it happens and consistently. You always want to consistently be there right when it happens, squash it, and then follow up with the campers or any situation. Make sure that you are letting them know and explaining the situation and why what they're doing is bad, or what they're saying to these people is bad, and how it doesn't make the other camper feel good. And then just always follow up. So this is very important. It may not always seem obvious that you need to loop in the camp advisor, but it really is important to make sure you do so. That's just so that everyone really knows what's going on and they can help you keep an eye on these campers, because it's really hard to see everything all the time. Awesome. So that is pretty much it for this one. This section we are going to go through in another video, but we do have to watch this video link, and I don't want to make you do that right now. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please let us know, and make sure that you do the quiz after this video so that we know that you went through it. I know it's kind of time consuming, but cool. All right.